It is estimated that 50 million people worldwide are victims of human trafficking or forced labor on any given day. Here in Louisiana, nearly 1,000 individuals were identified as victims of human trafficking in 2022 alone. This number represents known victims who are receiving supportive services to heal and recover. And regrettably, this number does not include victims who are currently being victimized or who have yet to be identified.
Human trafficking, which refers to forcing or manipulating an individual into employment or sexual services against their will, is a crime. And in Louisiana, we're making great strides to combat and prevent this crime. As we work to address this issue, it's important to understand that the majority of these victims are citizens of our state. They're our neighbors, members of our churches, students in our schools. The crime of human trafficking does not discriminate. Victims come from all economic backgrounds, races, ages, and gender. Yet often traffickers prey on the most vulnerable in our communities, including youth in the foster care system, people with disabilities, and those facing housing instability.
To effectively combat human trafficking, it is imperative that we are educated on this crime and how to report suspicious activity. The program you're about to watch seeks to accomplish just that. We hope that by watching this program, though heavy, you will be compelled to join with us in raising awareness of human trafficking and taking a stand against the scourge in our communities.
It's rape.
From 10 to 15 sex acts per day.
It's abuse.
It was everything that I wasn't looking at that was right underneath my nose.
You have 15-year-old girls that have been raped 3,000 times. And this is in Louisiana.
Human trafficking is a $150 billion industry.
It is buying and selling human beings.
It's a crime against humanity, and it is slavery.
It was only 30 minutes before the first guy came in, and I freaked out, and I cried, and I vomited. I was just turning 17, and the idea that somebody wanted to pay to have sex with me was disgusting. It was gross. We worked at a London lodge. It hasn't changed much. It's a hole in the wall. And afterwards, it was like conditioning. It was like, you know, it's okay. It's all right. That you can do this. Like, this happens all the time. Lots of girls do this. And then wanting to leave, that's when the aggression comes out, right? That's when, no, you're going to do this, you know, and you're not going to leave the motel room, and this is what's going to happen. I was born into a very abusive home, physically, emotionally, sexually. I remember my mother being beat until she went into seizures, being lined up with me and my sisters and being hit with belt buckles or slapped across the face or, you know, just whooped over and over again because maybe an oatmeal cream pie was missing. The worst beating I ever got that seemed to be invisible to everybody. And I was terrified of speaking out. We weren't going to sleep, and my dad called me downstairs and made me strip and took the belt and hit me over and over and over and over and over. And then I just remember running and him grabbing me and knocking me to the ground. And here I had this huge man on top of me, choking me. And my mom screaming, "Please stop, God, please stop."
When people ask me to talk about the problem of human trafficking, I say human trafficking is not a problem. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of a society that no longer values and gives dignity to human life. And we've gotten to the point where we've so objectified and commodified human life that we don't realize the tragedy. This is someone's son. This is someone's daughter. This is someone's brother or sister.
Those are just the victims who presented at one of our service providers, service agencies across the state. There's so many cases that have not come to our attention. So what we know is that there are 992 victims, but there's so many that we do not know about.
From the age of 6 years old, when I can remember, it's when I started being molested. I started being molested by family friend, and I remember this guy taking me to church with him. He used to take me to his Catholic church in the community where I lived, and he'd take me to the store and buy me jewelry and stuff like that, and not knowing he was setting me up to, I'm thinking he really giving me the love that I wasn't receiving from my family. He appeared to be my best friend, but he wasn't. I kept believing that the more he does for me, the more I had to give of myself.
And at some point in your mind, you may think, oh, well, I chose to do this. But the real question is, did you really choose to do it? Or were you just taught that that's what you were supposed to do?
And that's still trafficking.
That is still trafficking, yes, absolutely. Anybody under the age of 18 who participates in a commercial sex act is human trafficking. So I give you sex and you do something for me. It could be a roof over my head. That is still trafficking. Chances are, in some of your smaller jurisdictions, you're going to see something. I train law enforcement in how to deal with victims of human trafficking. One of the things that I hear from folks, especially in smaller towns, more rural areas, is, oh, we don't have human trafficking here. They have that in Baton Rouge, they have that in New Orleans, Lake Charles, Lafayette, the larger places.
When I first spoke to the First Lady about it, she went, here? Louisiana?
Hadn't really heard of human sex trafficking. I'm a little embarrassed to say that now.
About 4 months later, from her small hometown, they had a person who had learning disabilities, who was being kept in a dog cage.
According to a federal indictment, a 22-year-old autistic woman was held captive for 10 months and forced to live in this locked cage on Rushing Lane in Amite.
She was being trafficked by her own family for drugs. I thought, wow, this is in her own backyard.
They brought her out of the dog kennel when they wanted her to work or to do sexual acts for money. When she was finished, the money went to them and they put her back in a dog kennel. Court documents revealed the victim was also forced to pour her mother's ashes in a bowl and eat them with a spoon.
I remember in my head thinking, I can't handle this, you know? This is dark. It's just unbelievable that this is happening right here in our own neighborhoods.
I'm not talking about for Super Bowl in New Orleans. I'm talking about everywhere from LeBeau to LeCounte to Tallulah to these little towns.
I was envisioning the movie Taken, where you're abducted and brought to a different country when really it could be happening next door to me. It could be a poverty-stricken family and the guardians using their children as a means to get, like I said, their electricity bill paid.
People have grown to a space, sadly, of if it's not in my house or if it doesn't concern me, it's not my business. And we are begging folks and telling them it is your business, because one day it could be yours.
My cousin's boyfriend started messing with me when I used to go play with her daughter at the age of 8 and 9 years old. And so I'd already been molested, so here we go again. So I'm used to being molested, so hey, he gave me $20, so guess what? And back then, that was a big thing, just to have $20. So what? My mom wasn't concerned about how I got meat and bread in the house. She wasn't concerned about that. But then I ended up having sex with him so often, I didn't even know I was pregnant until I was 8 months pregnant. I'm still out there playing mud cakes, monkey bar, jumping rope. The system didn't see me. The church didn't see me. The community didn't see me. My family didn't see me. Nobody seen me. The teacher didn't see me. The bus driver didn't see me. I was molested by my bus driver. So who saw me? What did they see that's the thing, what did they see when they saw me? Sex object?
If you see someone who's withdrawn, if it looks like they're under the control of someone, an adult or someone a little older than them, notice those signs.
I was taken away and placed in foster care here in the state of Louisiana. I moved around a lot, constantly in between schools, not able to have any sort of normal adolescence, meet friends and be able to stay with those connections. It was just, feeling very lonely, isolated, abandoned. I just started running away. I met a guy who said he would take care of me. And this was not a real older guy. This was somebody maybe a few years older than me. I think like early 20s. That sounded great to me because I knew if I got picked up again, I most likely was going to be in detention for a long time.
You'll see multiple people with the exact same tattoo in the same place. So you've put your mark on someone, that person belongs to you. A lot of times we've seen people high school students who go to school every day and are trafficked on the weekends by a boyfriend.
We always think that this is a crime of force and the victim would be kicking and screaming, begging for help or they'd be tied up. That's just not the case. Here in the state of Louisiana, the #1 entry into trafficking is through family. The second entry into it is intimate partner or boyfriend, girlfriend relationship.
We've had moms caught for trafficking their daughter, getting them branded by the trafficker, trying to meet rent or to support a drug habit.
60% of all the trafficking victims are juveniles. Of that 60%, it's now 36% of them are young boys. What has happened that we have sexualized children to the point that we've started to see children as sex objects?
Listening to some of them and their stories and how, their mom was trafficked. They're the result of a trafficked situation. Nobody wanted them, being molested by their father or their uncle and feeling worthless.
He brought me out to Airline Highway. I just felt like, well, this is where we're gonna stay. But it was only 30 minutes before the first guy came in.
Believe it or not, when you be involved with a predator, you're not knowing you're building a relationship, whether it's negative or not. It was negative, but yet I'm a child. I'm thinking this is what I'm supposed to do.
The reason you know a stove is hot is because your parents taught you not to touch it, and when you touched it, it burned you. If someone starts telling you at 6 years old that you're meant for their pleasure, for the pleasure of other people, then that's what you believe, then that's what you think, until someone can show you differently. They start off and they groom them. They take them to Baton Rouge, They've never been to a restaurant that has cloth napkins, never done that before. And then they'll start to have sex with them. And then they'll withhold. Then they'll have sex with them and they'll push their boundaries. So love bombing is, I will just flood you with affection and love. Text me, good morning, how are you doing? Every hour, just checking in, gifts, all this stuff. And then nothing, just ghost. And then what happens? What did I do wrong? How can I get him back? I need that adrenaline from that love bombing back, to the point of you become so desperate you'll do anything. Well, I really need some money, so what I need you to do is have sex with my friend and he's gonna pay me.
It is important to know that these pimps and traffickers are making good money, it's sad to say, off of these vulnerable individuals. The average trafficker has 5 or 6 victims in what the survivors have told us they call their harem. Each victim, they have a quota where they're required to go out and make $10,000 a night. One survivor said her survivor, her quota was $10,000 a night, and her trafficker had 5 or 6 of them.
A trafficked victim will do anywhere from 10 to 15 sex acts per day.
We have children who will have been sold 20 times a night. You have 15-year-old girls that have been raped 3,000 times.
And I was scared because I couldn't call mom or dad to come get me. And I couldn't call police, right? Because I was gonna get picked up again. I was gonna get in trouble.
And they're going after those who are vulnerable, so homeless youth and adults, those who are in foster care, OJJ's custody, so system-involved youth, those who are looking for love.
It used to be when you got home, you were safe. Now, it's coming from inside the house. The danger is inside the house.
The traffickers are using online. Social media is just terrible. Online solicitation is booming, and they're posing as a 15 or 16-year-old, and again saying all the right things.
It's in Snapchat, it's in Instagram. What parents need to realize is that it's in their children's phones. 1
out of every 5 children, adolescents, will be contacted and will have some interaction with a predator within the first year of their use of social media.
Also through gaming devices, we see that's where a lot of boys get roped into trafficking, is they will meet people on these multiplayer gaming platforms where they'll be talking to strangers and try and meet up with them.
You're not protected. If your child has access to the internet, you're not protected.
Traffickers are now using children to recruit others into the life. And so they may have a student who is their victim to say, hey, I want to invite you to my house, to my sleepover. And they're using, or come to my party. And when those children get to that party, they're then stripped of their identity, their personal possessions, and then made to, brought into the life.
What is life like when all this is happening?
Like hell, you know, you're raped every time it happens. I guess I give it to God as far as the strength that it took to like act like this was something okay with me, you know, be in that survival mode just so I could eventually get away from this guy.
I had a mind and a heart. I had a dream. I wanted to go to college. I didn't have a choice in the matter. I didn't have a choice. I know I got a brilliant mind because I'm still fighting. I know I'm somebody. But I didn't get the choice to choose. I wanted to be a virgin for a while. I didn't get that. It's an honor when a person can make it to 20 and be a virgin. Just make it to 10. I didn't make that. I didn't make that.
Here in the United States, there are 5,000 shelters for animals, each one containing 50 to 100, places for dogs and cats. And yeah, I love dogs and cats, so. But do you know how many beds there are in the United States for juvenile victims? Right around 200. That was the last I heard about. Only 200 beds, and yet there are 300,000 children victims in the United States, and we have 200 beds. And less than 700 for all of ages. And the number's going down, not up, they're going down. And Metanoia has 16 of those 200 beds.
We're the only shelter in the entire United States that can take children from the age of 6 to 18. We can take pregnant women, and we can take care of their babies. We're the only licensed shelter in the United States that do that. Our mission is to heal the whole person. We're not a Catholic shelter. We're a shelter for children in need. We don't proselytize. We don't try to force the children to become Catholic. We do encourage the children to have a relationship with God, the God as they've come to know Him.
It takes the girls some time to be able to trust the sisters or anybody, and that kind of action does that. They realize that they're not doing this for a paycheck. They're doing it because, number one, they love God, and secondly, they love them and really care about them. We get questions asked, what are your successes? Can you tell me a success? And I think the people are looking that, they graduated from college and now they're, real productive. When we look at success, success is a girl not sleeping in her closet anymore because it was a safe place. Success is not to wet the bed. That's kind of the results of this real horrible crime against humanity.
My greatest hope for the children who pass through Metanoia, that they'll come to believe that they're precious in the sight of God, and their self-worth is important, whether their life career is cleaning a house or directing a corporation or some other professional career. I hope they come to believe that they're really special and they're somebody.
I was lucky enough to be able to go to the store and got on an airline highway bus. And I remember when I got on that bus that day being terrified that if he found me or, what could happen if he caught me.
This is right here, the building.
And I wound up right here on Rampart Street, meeting other homeless youth. There's a lot of guilt and shame that comes with being trafficked, with being sold, because you do feel like it's your fault, like how you didn't see this coming. And it's shameful. Really, my life kind of surrounds my 4 kids, and this place, my other 105 kids tonight. The most beautiful moment in my life was the first time I held my first baby. It was a love like I'd never felt, and it just, in that moment, it just made me think, how could how could anybody harm this? Why wouldn't you want to protect this? So I think it made me a better parent or whatever, and kind of break that vicious cycle that I easily could have repeated.
Did I get out? I never did get out. I never did get out. I never get out until I start. I really never really got out. I just survived. All I know is the survival what kept me. That what kept me survival. Survival was what kept me. I didn't really get out, to be honest with you, until I just met other people like me in sex trafficking. Guess what? That's a few months ago. My life was just a mess because everything was survival. And even today, I'm still trying to survive. You know how people just go out and just sit on a patio, enjoy a cup of coffee, and enjoy the sun? I don't do that. I'm sitting there thinking, how can I survive? How can I make it? What way can I make it? Today I work at Christian Outreach Center. I help the homeless. I found a new family, and they are surviving. I am a mother, still a mother, grandmother of 16.
It's only good if you can look beyond your trials and tribulations and realize He's still a good God.
I am a pastor now.
It cost me to stand here. It cost me. It cost me to be molested. It cost me to be raped. It cost me to be in sex trafficking. Oh, but I never let go of my faith. I held on to my faith.
God was my best friend. Even when sometimes it felt like He left me all alone. But I didn't sound my faith.
I had the adult look, but I was a broken child inside, trying to do adult things. In man eyesight, I looked like an adult, but inside I was like these little babies trying to survive.
I love loving people. I love helping the community.
Know your worth. Know your worth in the name of Jesus. Know your worth. You'd have been used and abused by folks so much because you're trying to fit in.
I never want someone to feel the pain I felt. And if they have it, there's somebody out there that cares. There's somebody out there that sees you.
Hey! Thank you, God, for He cares for you.
I've been married now for 23 years.
And that even
I have a wonderful husband.
You are restoring us. Hey!
He had to be a special man to deal with me. I am a handful. I am a handful. But what I love about it, God blessed me with a wonderful husband. He reached through all my darkness, all my anger, my bitterness, my scratching and fighting. He still pulled me up to help me.
Know that your labor
not in vain.
The battle never stopped. The fight never stopped to survive for me. And I'm always going to survive. And I'm going to keep on smiling.
There are times when I've gone down airline highway, whether to do outreach or just travel wherever, and see those hotels and get kind of like, you know, I can't believe they're still there. Like, they're still standing. And see that it's only gotten worse.
Sheri and Veronica survived. but they are the exceptions. Too many victims in our communities go unseen and unnoticed. For those who do survive, the trauma is long-lasting, and the journey for healing and recovery is even longer.
Human trafficking is not just an international problem or a big city problem. It's not just a law enforcement problem, it's all of our problem. And it's in every part of the world and in every state and in every community. We all have a role to play in ending human trafficking. So how can you help? You can assist us with raising awareness and educating those around you. Talk to your children, your family members, and your coworkers. Educate youth on online safety. Know their friends, including their digital friends, and let them know they can come to you with any problem, even if it's uncomfortable or difficult to talk about.
Know the signs of human trafficking. If you suspect something, report it. Call the Louisiana State Police Hotline at 1-800-434-8007 or dial 911. If a suspected victim is a minor, you can also make a report to DCFS at 1-855-4LA-KIDS. If you are a victim or survivor, please know that you are not alone, and there are free resources here in Louisiana to assist you. To learn more about human trafficking and available resources, please visit the Louisiana Human Trafficking Prevention Resource Center of Louisiana at humantrafficking.la.gov.
I'm First Lady Donna Edwards.
And I'm Dr. Dana Hunter, Executive Director of the Louisiana Governor's Office of Human Trafficking Prevention. We express our gratitude for your viewership and appreciate your valuable assistance.